What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? This is your boy, Luciferian Prince, coming at y'all once again with another upload. For the most part, I haven't checked my email in probably about, let's say, for a better part, about 3 days. And unfortunately, again, being busy with other issues, other matters, if indeed I haven't talked to you, what I will say is that I'm not ignoring emails. It's just that I haven't checked them. So unless, of course, it's an email of vital importance, which I consider some to be, most of them are really just inquiries, particularly from people I don't really know, so to speak, or just met or just have basically just recently subscribed to my channel. Then those are emails that I basically have to check. So give me a moment's notice in regards to, your question or whatever the case may be. And if I don't respond, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just that I'm busy. That's all. So for the most part, let me proceed with the last place I left off at. And yes, agents, please have a seat. By the end of World War II, the Masonic Cabal Freemasons attempted to cement the European royal factions' control over the rest of the world by creating the privately owned corporate United Nations, which explains why only 71 out of 267 countries ever came on board. At that time, the Sabbatean Rothschild criminal cabal controlled all 5 of the Permanent Security Council members, but has since lost the support and controls over the Republic of China and Russia. Note, for clarification purposes, the Republic of China is an entirely different entity from that of the Chinese royal family. One is the Communist political government of China, and the other is the combination of many different royal family descendants composed of various nationalities. The Chinese royal family wielded the greatest amount of influence over the royal family members, and so the name of their group became known as the Chinese royal family. Their center of business is located in Hong Kong, and the family bank is called the Royal Dragon Society Bank. Back in America, the patriarch of the Rockefeller family, John D., representing the gas and oil industry, and his fellow robber barons, J.P. Morgan, in banking, Ford and Carnegie, in transportation and steel production, and the Coolidge, Hoover, Roosevelt, and Truman in government began a long-term program to complete the final physical enslavement of the American people by quietly and systematically gaining control over Congress, the media, and the textbook publishing industry. They accomplished this by liberally and strategically spreading a large portion of the Rothschild wealth throughout those venues in form of bribes to congressmen, and by purchasing the majority of shares and stocks in the American media and the American textbooks publishing company. Now, if you're getting at this point, now you can see why I sit here and call it the public fool system. I call it the public fool system for a reason, because you've been tricked, you've been duped, and your textbooks, as you believe them to be, are rewritten revisionist history. And what they've done is that they've taken their concept of what they want you to believe into actually being a false sense of allegiance to a country or a corporation that doesn't have your interest at its heart. And it's in its best interest for the human so-called population that they wish to reduce. So, long story short, people, the web is deeper and larger than you've been actually envisioned. Note, through their financial influence and control, these men of power were able to get the Federal Reserve and the Emergency Banking Act passed, which is designed to control all of America's assets and convince or bribe Congress to adopt the Bretton Woods Agreement, July 22nd, 1944. And to also have the Emergency Banking Act passed, which is designed to control all of the American assets and convince or bribe the Congress to adopt the Bretton Woods Agreement, which is a plan designed to take over and control the American people. And lastly was creation of the Department of Education, which is administered by a director of their own choosing, to distort all educational materials and control and monitor the force of education of the American masses. All of these principles are part or parcel of the Babylonian slave driving techniques. The greatest deception, apart from establishing a duplicitous corporate government, the theft of America, assets, and the distortion of American history, was the promotion of the so-called science of economics, which is and always has been the basic ancient Babylonian slave driving technology. This proved to be an essential mechanism for European faction to thoroughly separate the American people from their assets, liberty, and freedom. That's the end of that. The following was taken from once an uncirculated memoir of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, which partly explains the crux or root of the great American fraud. But even Roosevelt didn't know the depth of the European royal family influence and control in America, and that their intervention actually predated George Washington's administration. The real truth of the matter is, as you and I know, a financial element in the larger sentence has owned the government since the days of Andrew Jackson. In politics, nothing happens by accident. And if it happens at all, you can be sure we planned it that way. Quote, Franklin D. Roosevelt. This next quote is from the writings of Meyer Amschel Bauer from 1744 to 1812 as a Sabbatean Jewish German banker and the founder of the Rothschild family banking empire, who later changed his name to Rothschild, which was his wife's maiden name because the people ultimately mistakenly addressed him as Mr. Rothschild. Meyer Rothschild died in the same year as the War of 1812, and his empire was continued on by his 7 sons. The marquee bearing his family name of Rothschild, found above the business door, meant revolution in the German language, and the 6-pointed star that adorned his plaque, which is mistakenly attributed to the Jewish faith as a Star of David, was actually derived from the 6-pointed star used in pagan idolatry worship in ancient Chem, or what they call ancient Egypt. The star has 2 triangles, one pointed downward, one pointed upward, which are symbols of man and woman, or as they say, as above, so below. By and through his eventual success, wealth, and influence, the Rothschild family faction was responsible for causing the 6-pointed star symbol to be named the Star of David and become adopted by Jewish religion and political symbol of Israel, which, again, people, is not a country, it's a people. But they've convinced us through their little history books, and they've convinced many of our continuing generations that Israel is a country and not a people. But it was an actual political corporation installed in 1947, same year that the particular United Nations came into existence. Israel is not a country, it's a people. Let's get that straight. Give you control over a nation's currency. I don't care who makes the laws. Meyer A. Bauer, also known in today's society as Rothschild. During World War II, Adolf Hitler's Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, is most quoted for his philosophical gem. Remember this quote most of all, because it has been effectively employed upon the American people as frequently and successfully as the proverb, where there's smoke, there's fire. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. Joseph Goebbels. This expose represents a compilation of historic secrets, hopefully in their correct sequence of events. It is not presented for you with a bibliography because you, the person who's actually watching this video, will either believe it or you will not. No one will take the time to read, examine these sources because that is not what Americans are meant to do. Courtesy of those expert mind control techniques that we all have been subjected to for so many years, the American nature is to believe what we hear, no matter how truthful, and especially if it is repeated a great number of times, such as this jewel of propaganda. You are a free people protected by a constitution. You're American politicians. My other reason for writing this expose, as the author says, in manner also concerns my personal safety and plight. Too many patriots and loyalists who have attempted to document and expose government corruption through the centuries, have been killed, are sitting in prison, are being detained in mental hospitals, or they are being detained and tortured as terrorists in the military prison at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. Remember how the elite and royal families of early Babylon dealt with unusually intelligent people. They were enrolled, they were murdered, or they were dealt with by other devious means, Asian historians. So as long as I do not attach a bibliography to this document, I will not be regarded by most of the elite and royal classes and government officials, bankers, judges, lawyers, and priests as some kind of screwball. And hopefully, my safety should be reasonably assured Few have expressed my observations and beliefs better than that of Stuart Chase, an American economist, engineer, and author, who wrote, "For those who believe, no proof is necessary. And for those who don't believe, no proof is ever enough." Stuart Chase. And trust me, I deal with that a lot with people who come at me and through my emails and try to contact me. It's not me. It's your dissonance that speaks for itself. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you and your incompetency and how you regulate your personal life. But this is all the statements from the author, in which it's just previously just mentioned, not my own disposition. I now wish to address my apprehension about the Sabbatean Jewish faction, many of whom serve as European and American politicians, bankers, judges, and lawyers. The following quotes are from the Jewish Talmud, which are most likely the Holy Bible, is to a Christian. After reading the following passages, I ask you to draw your own conclusion. 1. Jews may lie to non-Jews. Jews may use lies to circumvent a Gentile. Baba Kama 113a. Jews may swear falsely by using subterfuge of wording. Skalhut Hague 6b. Jews must always try to deceive Christian. Zahar 1160a. Who took an oath in presence of Goys, which is basically majority of what they call the Goyim. The robbers in the custom house officer is not responsible. So Sefer Sibinot 11. One should and must make false oath when the Goyim ask if our books contain anything against them. Then we are bound to state an oath that there is nothing like that. Uzabat, the book of Jordiah 17. So, with that being said, people, there's certain things that have also been implemented against you and in courses in which, you haven't really been informed. Now, being as it may, and being as it is, and being as it shall be, according to not the design of people, not the design of man, but the design of the Creator, is that I think that most likely more people should be informed properly of how, indeed, to really read and research and do some critical thinking. Because today, it's not really about them particularly wanting to inform you, because you're being misinformed and disinformed every day. And with this whole so-called coronavirus epidemic, most people don't even realize that they've also been misled about the concept of it, because, again, it makes you apprehensive and fearful. And the longer you become apprehensive and fearful, the longer their plans can keep maintaining. The longer they can keep delaying certain processes. The longer they can keep delaying you and keeping you set in place. And one of their most influential planks, I should say, of people that they use are celebrities. They use these people to implement their policies against you, to make you believe that we are all in this together. And in certain senses, they're absolutely right. Yeah, we're in a shit pit together. It's not something that requires sympathy. It requires something that is actually implementing itself against you and your personal embetterment. So by keeping you in place, that means that their plans behind the scene can work. Because one thing for sure and two things for certain, the United Nations doesn't take a day off. And these entities, as far as the White House, they don't take a day off. But they tell you to stay unemployed. They tell you also that you need to wait until we're ready to give you the directive from us having our directives from our private administrative boards. People, this shit is deeper than what you think. And I'm telling you that all it is just a big scheme of the people on the so-called top of the economic pyramid to basically, build their wealth and their health and success off the back of the many people who are dependent upon them for resources. So, with that being said, people, they keep making you vie for stimulus checks to stimulate their economy. They keep making you vie for not being able to maintain your housing. They're making you vie to actually be, dependent upon their system for whatever resources they wish to actually dole out, so to speak. And unfortunately, it's very sad and it's very confusing for some people who just come to these processes because, again, they're looking for a way out. You follow what I'm saying? And that's very sad because I told people before in previous videos, you need to start looking for a way in and stop looking for a way out. They're already in. You're just outside of what they actually have implemented against you. And in certain senses, most people would say what I'm getting ready to say is very wrong, but some people actually deserve it. Why? Because you haven't taken the time and opportunity to make your situation better. You're waiting on someone else to make your situation better, and that's why you keep fucking up. You keep fucking up because you're letting them actually dictate your existence. How do you expect to have success if you let somebody else dictate your existence? You are seriously misled. So serious. And it is what it is. If you want that to be your existence, then this channel isn't for you. My words ain't for you. You know, they're probably falling on deaf ears. It is what it is. But while I explain these things not have a point of arrogance or thinking I'm having the be all, end all knowledge. No, I'm just a light post and a guide to let you know that every day you're being royally fucked. And now you understand the meaning behind that statement. And it is what it is. If you wish to actually, you know, contact me via email, it is what it is. It's just the first upload I'll do today. Second upload, get ready for it because it's coming. And it's just one of those situations where I also explain to people that the things are more severe than you're actually aware of. And until you come to that realization, there's nothing I can do for you. And to be honest with you, there's nothing the Creator can do for you either. Because every day the Creator gives you impedance to actually move forward and progress and then better yourself and your standing. I don't care if it's the weekend. It don't matter. All you have to do is take your time out, you know, do your research, do your study, and apply it. But, you know, there's so many people who are agents. And, you know, agent doesn't necessarily mean someone who works for the government, so to speak. It also means a person who's willfully employed, you know, unwittingly by the government for its purposes or for the dependency of the system to try to come against everything I say. Prime example, somebody left a comment, there's no way around foreclosure. Oh, okay, yes it is. Pay your fucking bills. You know what I'm saying? Pay your bills. It's just that simple. Stop trying to sit here and make excuses for the system that, unfortunately, whether you work for them or not, don't even have your common interest at heart. So let's be real, people. It all boils down to conscientiousness. It doesn't have anything to do with these omega documents that people try to prescribe. No, it has to do with real knowledge and application of what you're fucking learning. That's the truth. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. Keep staying where you're at. Stay in poverty. Stay in distress. Stay in anxiety. That's fine. That's your choice. Because you're not using the Creator-given talents that you were actually born to have. But you know what? It's one of those situations where, you know, like I said before, you can tell people the keys to light and they'll spit in your face. I don't cast my pearls before swine. I just do this publicly. People who know private, they already know off the muscle. They're good. But when it comes down to telling a motherfucker to kill himself, you know what I'm saying? You know, tell you go kill yourself, you'll happily jump off a cliff. You know what I'm saying? So at the same token, this is the truth. Whether most people acknowledge it or not, whether you wish to acknowledge it or not, it's fine. So be it. I don't expect everybody that actually subscribes to my channel to believe me. I don't expect everybody that actually sits here and listens to things that are not my conjecture, but come from proven fact to actually listen to what I say. Of course not. I'd be naive as hell. You know, I'm not here to save the world. I'm here to save my world. I'm not here to save the world. The world has been in trouble since. But I'm here to save my world and enlighten people about the world that you live in, whether you like it or not. It is what it is. Peace. Love y'all. Take care. And agents, man, fuck y'all. Straight up. Off the muscle. And I will continuously say that. I've been saying it since I started this channel. And I'll do it again, just on the strength. If you misinterpreted what I said, fuck you. So, new subscribers, please subscribe. Please hit the notification button, just so you know when I upload videos, you'll be notified. It is what it is. Old subscribers, well, here's one thing I can say to you. If you're emailing me about things from years before, get your shit together, straight up. It is what it is. That's just me being an adult to another adult, because there's no kids that subscribe to my channel. It's nothing but adults. Trust me, I check the YouTube analytics. I know who subscribes to my channel. Take care. Y'all be safe and peace. Like I said before, agents,